In this episode, we talk about why February is the new January.
I'm Sienna.
And I'm Toast.
We're partners in love, life, and music, and we've been together since 2001.
With each episode of this podcast, our goal is to help our fellow LGBT community members lift their lives to the next level.
Hey everyone, happy February.
Welcome to the new January.
Yay. So hope you all are having a great start to your new year so far. Mm-hmm. And if you haven't had a great start, it's okay because the year starts now, February.
Start again.
So we are going to be talking about why we think February is the new January. But before that, we are going to give you a quick update on our dates.
It's kind of like a date report card.
Yeah, a date report card. So in a previous episode, Toast and I talked about how we pre-scheduled all of our dates for 2019. So we have had 2 dates so far, and one of the things that has proven to be essential is that both parties remain flexible to the actual date plan.
Yeah,
sometimes what you plan might not be the thing you actually
end up doing.
Want to do or end up doing, which is okay.
Well, okay, so our first date, we planned to finally use an old Groupon that we had lying around that we hadn't even used yet. So we tried a new restaurant and had fun doing that. So that was good. That was fun. That was exactly what we had planned to do.
You know what? And what was also good is that they had a nice vegan menu. Mm-hmm. So I appreciated that. So yay, points for us on that. So that was great.
And then the second date that we had planned was supposed to be a nature hike. We were going to return to a nature park that we had been to earlier and enjoyed. So we wanted to go back and do another hike there. But on that day, it was raining and cloudy.
I was cranky. I was like, I don't want to go in the rain.
We didn't feel like doing that. So instead, we stayed in the car and drove to a suburb instead of a nature park.
We drove to the neighborhood that nature park is in, mm-hmm. and we were driving around, and then we just happened upon a place that we had been wanting to go to.
That we'd heard of, yeah.
Yeah.
We saw the sign. We just passed it on the road.
We're like, oh my God, that's the place.
Hey.
So
we turned around
yep.
and drove into the parking lot and explored that new place.
Yeah. What was that place called officially? Okay. Here. Okay, you know what? You talk about
Embry
that
House,
place.
Roadhouse or something like that?
I can Google it.
Here.
Go ahead.
It's in our journal that I started for us.
But while Toast looks that up, the most important thing is to just keep your dates in the calendar and keep those sacred. Sometimes you might have to move them, but if you do have to move it, just make sure you reschedule when you are putting something else in its place. Put it somewhere else in the calendar. Okay, are you ready?
I looked it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where is it that we actually went? What is it called?
It's called Cornelius Pass Roadhouse.
Yes. So this place is one of the establishments, I think it's one of the earlier ones, for the McMenamin brothers, who are known in Oregon to take old buildings and restore them.
And repurpose them
into some kind of another business. So for this one, they repurposed a farmhouse property, into an event space, as well as a large, what is that, like a restaurant?
There's a restaurant that we ate at, and there's a distillery. There's a whiskey and cigar milk shed. Like you can have a whiskey and a cigar in an old milking shed or something. But anyways, so we were flexible, and Spirit led us to a place that we had on our list. You know, one of the things we want to do is hit all of the McMenamin's properties, and they're pretty cool. So we'll put a link Yeah, we can put a link
if you want to check out all the
house.
different things that these people do. And I'm so grateful for them because it's very cool to experience one of their creations.
Yeah, it's so neat to experience, I guess, the history, like the fact that the history is being
part
kept
of it
alive. It's being remembered and it's being honored.
Yes.
In being repurposed even. Yeah.
In fact, they turned a schoolhouse
an elementary
from the
school.
early 1900s into a hotel, a hotel and then some. So it's pretty fascinating.
Stuff like that.
All right. So shall we get into...
So that's our date report.
Yes.
And now, let's talk about the topic for this episode. February is the new January.
Yes. All right. So there is so much pressure in January. There's so much hype in January. And I got to say, I kind of give into that. I get all excited about January. I love a clean slate, and all of that. But, when you think about the moment that Halloween hits.
Okay.
Right? October. It's the
31st.
month for Halloween. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you decorate, if you're a decorator, whatever, right?
Okay.
Once that hits, it's holiday after holiday after holiday.
Right.
It's gatherings. It's social. You're trying to get your Christmas shopping done. You're doing all kinds of things. You might be traveling. Whew. There's a lot. And then at the same time...
a lot. And that's the stuff of life.
That's the stuff of life.
We love that
But
experience.
It's all
make the most of it.
It's all jammed and crammed at the end of the year.
And it takes a lot of energy.
It takes a lot of energy.
That.
And at the
all
same
kinds
time,
of energy.
While all of this is going on, we're all supposed to be held accountable to have your goals and everything squared away for the year that's right around the corner. But where's the recharging? There's no recharging.
You need to have downtime.
You need downtime. So we are declaring January, and I'm sorry, we should have mentioned it sooner. Because January is over.
We're learning as we go.
January really should be the month to recharge. And then we enter into February ready with some clarity as to what we would like to bring to fruition in the year.
It's kind of like it's license to kind of semi-hibernate.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's still winter, right? It's like, just take some downtime for yourself and
hey,
do a little cleanse if you want,
Yeah, it's kind of like
regroup.
if you have the energy and you feel ready and raring to go and you're hitting the gym and doing your juice cleanse and doing all of your date nights and all of that stuff in January, that's great. But
that is great. Yeah.
But if you're not,
it's great.
That's great too.
Yeah. And
I feel like we kind of split the difference,
Yeah, we did. Yeah. We certainly did. But it's like a lot of people, it's common knowledge that a lot of people that set resolutions, by the time February rolls around, they've fallen off their bandwagon. And I think maybe that has to do with the fact that we didn't give ourselves the downtime, to kind of regroup, clear the slate, clean the slate, and truly have that spiritual foundation prepped for the newness coming in, the new habit, the new thing we are trying to cultivate.
So what do you think, what does that look like?
What do you mean?
So let's say we're thinking, you know what? That's right. Just came off of the New Year's and my God, my body feels fatigued and my brain fog is in because of all the sugar. And I need to not put the pressure on myself.
Yeah.
To just be a whole brand new me 2.0 in January.
Right.
Thank you for the license to just chill out for a little bit.
Yeah.
So what does that look like? Because we know the New Year's resolution, we know what that looks like. What would that look like? Doing your workouts and, being all of that. So
to me, what that would look like you know, and this is something seriously for
both of
us. I'm thinking that's how we schedule our next January as a recharge month. Because like you said, we were kind of half-half, right? Wouldn't it have been great to just be full force? Because January, there's generally no social commitments, obligations. Right. There's just the social expectation of having all of our bleep together by then, right?
Right.
So instead, I think what like a great January, a great recharge January, I think would look like. Now, this is stuff that I that would feel good to me.
Yeah.
Personally. Okay. So I would love to clean the house, right? So why wait till March, right? Spring cleaning for March. Just clean and clear it. Do the space clearing, right? Of all the, you know, if you had a lot of stuff happening at your house, people staying at your house, or all the holiday, the parties, all the things that can carry a chaotic energy. Also beautiful energy, right? Of the gatherings, right? So you want to keep the beautiful energy and release anything unlike your vision for yourself. So it would be a physical cleaning of the home as well as a spiritual, energetic cleaning. I think that would be part of January. I think also part of January would be some kind of a physical cleanse. Okay. And then I think another part of January could be really picking up on things that I love to do. Because I think part of the whole holiday hecticness and all of that comes from doing so much for others.
Showing up for others in a social way.
Which is part of a beautiful thing, right?
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
You want to get the right gift. You want to do all these things. You want to make your parents happy and, you know, whatever. So I think spending a part of January reconnecting with yourself, right? What do I love to do that I really haven't been doing because I've been doing all these other things? So if it might be, I'm finally going to read that book. This week, I'm going to read this book that I've been wanting to read, something that you love, 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 love. So spending time doing that. And then I think the last week of January, by the time the last week rolls around, after you've cleansed your house, physically and spiritually, after you have done a physical cleanse, get your sugars out, you know, reset your taste buds from all the indulgences, and then reconnected with your passion and joy in that third week of January, then in that last week, I think by that point, you're primed. You're like, okay, you know what?
My well has been filled.
Yes, I can take some deep breaths. I feel clarity. What would I like to bring to fruition for this year? And I think January, you can really start to plan. And then in February, start to implement.
Okay.
That's what it would look like to me.
That makes sense. That resonates with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
What would you do?
Well, I appreciate that you chose reading a book because I love reading a book. I would do that.
Would you add anything else? Oh, maybe get a massage if you don't do that regularly. You know, add some great self-care in that week. And did you notice how I compartmentalized it?
You
like
mean
the
with,
first week,
your house, and then your
the
body. And,
yeah,
okay.
I really think segmenting it that way is probably very helpful.
Wow,
because your environment is...
It feels so
structured.
Makes me feel pressure. So that's why I guess it's different for everybody.
That's what would feel good to me.
Right,
you know?
exactly.
It's like, okay, I'm not going to read my book in a dirty house. You know, let's clear the space. Then let's clear myself inside of myself. Now I'm ready. Let's bring my passion back, right? You know what? Now I'm ready to set my goals. So to me, I think that might be a good thing.
Yeah, for you, yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
Okay, so what would you do?
I feel like when we talk about, and it's so funny that this is an episode in February because we're talking all about January. But anyway.
But we're explaining why we think February.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get to some February things.
Well, I think the whole, the kernel of this whole idea and concept we're talking about is the concept of go easy on yourself.
Exactly.
Don't put
whatever
the
that
pressure
means.
on.
Yeah.
So for me in January, that would probably look like my New Year's resolutions in quotes, but just at a chilled out, relaxed level, you know, like, okay, so I'm going to renew my workouts, but don't go balls to the wall with it. Just show up.
Yeah.
Step through the motions. Don't hurt yourself.
Yeah.
Just, and go slowly. I guess ramp up to it. Don't feel like you're only successful at it if you push yourself. Right? Just doing it is successful. And as you are consistent in it, then you'll be able to get more intense with whatever it might be as you feel called. I guess it's that principle of it doesn't matter how fast you're going. What really matters is what direction you're going in, right? So just making sure you're faced in the right direction and then take little steps, and that's good.
So are you thinking January would be sort of like a kind of the pre-full force? Like kind of setting like the prerequisite.
It's like the appetizer.
The primer.
Yeah, it's the appetizer
Okay.
for, just to get a little taste of what's to come
habits.
in a bigger
Yes.
way.
Yeah, that's good.
And I think that's
like
kind of, I guess
that's
is
kind of what we did actually.
Yeah, like
right?
how we did a mini cleanse. It wasn't this full on cleanse.
Oh no.
Yeah.
But it worked. Like I feel like
totally.
we've reset quite a bit.
It really helped me.
From just those 3 days.
Yes.
For
sure.
All right. Okay. So what can people do now in February if they haven't, thought about their goals or their vision? What can they do now? So something that, if you're on our email list, we gave you a little bit of this in our February newsletter. If you're not on it, please sign up for it. We will have a link in the show notes. And, but one of the things I think is important to have is to have 2 vision statements. I'll call it a vision statement or 2 visions for yourself. One of them is a forest or a long-term vision. Long-term meaning like 3 to 5 years out. So I'm not necessarily thinking like 10 years. It's kind of hard to grasp 10 years. But if you can do a 3 to 5 long-term forest vision for yourself and then do a current year tree version of the vision for yourself, then you're really set. You've covered, when you think of these 2 types of vision statements, you're pretty covered by putting down your bigger goals. Bigger just meaning it'll take a little more time, longer range goals. When you put that down in writing and you have that, it relaxes your mind and your spirit a bit. That might be going, but what about the thing that I want to do? It's like you have it down, you've written it down, it's in your 3 to 5 year plan, and you don't have to keep allowing those thoughts to infiltrate your current plan.
Okay.
Because I think a lot of times we want to do so many different things.
Right.
I know I am so like that. And things are kind of, popping up in my head and heart like, hey, what about this? Hey, what about that? But if I write it down and know it's going to have it stay in the sun, like it's in my plan, then it's like it knows that idea that has a life of its own knows, okay, it's not my turn yet. So if you have a long range forest plan for yourself, that's fantastic. It only helps to support your current tree version of your plan.
Okay.
So the 1 year plan would be what you would like to do in 2019. So a lot of this is really, feeling it out, knowing what you would love in your life, what your perception is as far as what makes sense in your life right now to attack when. You know, is this more of a 3 to 5 year? So is it long range, or is this current short range plan? Mm-hmm. And then you kind of just dump it in those buckets. Is it this bucket or that bucket? And you kind of put your ideas and goals down. And then you regroup, look at your vision, your short-term vision, and look, okay, can I do all these things? Mm-hmm. And you might feel like, okay, I've overbooked this year.
Right.
So then you take a few out and put it in the 3 to 5 year. And then now you have a reasonable,
hopefully,
set of vision plans for yourself, right? Long-term, short-term. So then you take your short-term, you have your goals, and then the next step really is to, just with what you know now, write down all the steps that it will take to accomplish that thing, whether it's buying a house, whether it's going back to school, whatever your vision is for yourself this year, write down what it will take and then calendarize it and put those things in your calendar. When are you going to do those things? Mm-hmm. You know, that's a huge step that I think if you haven't embraced your calendar, that is something so crucial to really creating the life you want. You know, it's not about, oh, but I'm not a structure person. I mean, seriously, writing it down and when you're going to do it has been one of the things that is so instrumental in both Toast and I accomplishing so many things in our lives. You know, just putting it down. Otherwise, it's like if it's floating around in thin air, it's like, when is it going to get done? Mm-hmm. You know, and you do leak energy to those things that you haven't set into your calendar because it's somewhere going, well, are you going to do it? Are you not going to do it? Right. And then July comes around and you're like, oh my God, I haven't done anything that I wanted to do this year. Half the year is gone. And then you're like, okay, I want to do these things. But have you calendarized? So even though I am OCD.
I think too, though, like in that scenario of, okay, now it's July and I haven't done the thing. Mm-hmm. I think at that point, it's a fair and honest question that should be asked too, of saying, well, is this really important to me?
Exactly.
Because it might not be that important to you after all. And maybe it was on your goal list just because you felt pressure to have that thing. You know, so
exactly,
make it be okay to change.
And that's something I wanted to say too, is that, you know, when you are writing out your long-term and short-term vision statements, it's so important to come from a space of, what do you truly want? You know, is this something that is that important to you? And one of the things you can ask yourself, I mean, this sounds like an extreme kind of measure, but if it was your last day and you are there and you're going to be transitioning on to the afterworld, when you're on your deathbed, would you be, you know, is doing this thing that you're considering to be on your vision, would you regret not having done that? Mm. If it is yes, put it in your vision plan, whether it's this year or the 3 to 5 year. Mm-hmm. And always, 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 as you calendarize, as you get it into a system, always stay open to what the universe can see for you, what God can see for you, that you cannot yet see for yourself. We can only know what we know, right? Mm-hmm. So always remain open for a spark that lights up another idea for you then to take that course. Something else that happens that then you veer off in this other course. Stay open to these inspiring moments that will drop in, because like we mentioned in one of the other podcasts, you know, we always want to end our statements with all this or greater yet still. Mm-hmm. So I think that's really important to do, is to calendarize. And yes, that feels structured and all of that. And it is, but to not cling onto it with for dear life. Also cultivate an openness as you go through your planning, because the more you live into and practice what it's like living that vision, and part of doing that is taking the steps in your calendar, more is revealed to you as far as, is this a good fit? Is there another option? Is there something even better? But we have to remain open to those things.
And I think that's the true art of life, right?
Yes.
I think it's the same is true in our relationships with others, and I see that this is true in even the politics. And I know, Sienna, don't freak out that I brought up the word politics. But I think it's very crucial to do your own thinking on your own based on what you know and your values, and therefore to have your own convictions, right? Know where you stand, how you feel about the issues, what your beliefs are. Know that about yourself. But at the same time, be open to genuinely listening to and genuinely being curious and considerate about other people's points of view. It's about marrying those two things, not sticking religiously and militantly to your plans and your vision. Have plans and have a vision, but at the same time, be open and humble enough to keep eyes and ears open for other directions and other thoughts and voices and leadings. Yes. I think it's the same.
And it's not necessarily the voice of your parents. It's like, Spirit will often speak to us through other people.
Friends,
so sometimes you are like
podcasts.
You're overhearing a conversation while you're standing in the checkout line at the grocery store. Why did you overhear that little bit? It might be information that you have been asking for or ready for. So it's not the voices of your parents and their expectations that you want to listen to, or this other person. It's like still listening to yourself, but staying open to what Spirit has. And Spirit can come through in so many different ways. So that is why, if you haven't done anything yet for this year as far as your goals, you're fine. Because February is the new January, and I'm going to stick to that.
So welcome to January.
Yep.
Thanks for joining us.
Have a great day.
And until next time,
this is Sienna.
And this is Toast. Telling you to love life, live free.